Welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing an update on Terra Luna, as there's been a lot of recent news coming out, and I want to cut through some of that noise and give you the information you need to decide whether or not you want to stick with this project or leave it in the dust. So let's go ahead and get into the news. So first of all, obviously Terra Luna, if you paying it all attention, you know what happened, you know what it's all about. $40 billion wiped out as UST got depegged to the dollar. All of the UST involved DeFi protocols wiped out, all that total value wiped out, and people lost a bunch of money, 40 billion total. Now, fast forwarding to now, there has been a proposal that went out, about a month ago. They're doing Terra Luna 2.0, and now we're in the midst of trying to figure out how would that price actually appreciate. What are the mechanisms we have at hand? So a couple of things that we're going to talk about today is burning, exchange listings, and we're going to go into the viability of those. So first of all, there was some big excitement in the Luna community around this 1.2% burn tax code being put in and tested by validators. So this would actually automatically burn Terra Luna Classic in the event of some of these transactions. So we're going to see whether or not this actually has a effect on the total supply, and we're going to actually discuss whether or not that's viable. But this is kind of one of the things that people are super excited about, and we're going to see if that excitement is warranted. And the beauty of having a total supply number, the beauty of having a market cap, is that we can actually deduce the future value of a particular burn amount. So right here, if we assume that the Binance company actually burns their entire $2.17 trillion Luna Classic wallet, which is a bigger burn than all the proposals out there, bigger burn than whatever that tax code would ever do, that would bring the supply down to 4.37 trillion, right? For a 0.01 cent, so for a 1 cent Luna Classic, this would require a $43.7 billion market cap, which is 109x from here. Now, with no volume on this chain, essentially, no product, no anything on this chain, that is quite high upside, even with the additional burn, right? So this is saying even if we were to burn more than any of these proposals were to ever do, just mathematically speaking, that 0.01 Luna Classic reaching that price is just very unrealistic. So I think this is just a really good way to kind of bring us back down to earth. Let's look at the math. Let's look at the possibility, the viability of this. I think this kind of helps us really set expectations, right? Now, the other thing that was really concerning that just came out was that Kwon actually used a 20 million Luna wallet for proposal voting. Now, that proposal that we had just talked about for that Terra 2.0, he put a vote to the validators and to some of the Luna users, and basically said, hey, let's vote on what's going to happen next. Are we doing Terra Luna 2.0? Kwon was clearly adamant that he wanted that to happen, and he had used this wallet, that the one that he used to vote on this recent proposal, he had used that back in August 2021. So it is proof that it is his, and he's now used it again, and apparently he used it to get 20 million Luna to vote for his own proposal. So essentially rigging his own election, is basically the analogy that I would put to that. So just another really sketchy thing that Kwon's doing that, if he really believed in the future of this project, just come clean and let's talk about why this failed. Let's do it over the correct way, right? But it seems like he's still wanting to lie. He's still wanting to do a lot of these shady things behind the scenes. So that's just not a good look at, in my view, in terms of the ability for Kwon and the Terra Luna brand to make a comeback. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about that I've seen in the Terra Luna community in terms of the high hopes is that there's going to be exchange listings. And obviously, whenever you talk about altcoins, supply, exchange listings, marketing, these are all things that can be used in the toolbox to appreciate the price. We're going to talk about the viability of getting on exchanges here and talk about some of the recent news that has come up around that. So recently, this was about a week and a half ago, and you guys have probably heard this, but it's going to set up an additional piece of news that's even more important. So Binance.us got hit with a class action lawsuit for selling Luna and UST, and apparently they were in violation of securities laws for its false advertisement of UST and it's led to a disastrous consequence for all those customers. Obviously billions wiped out in total, and now they're going to have to answer for that. Right now, there's about 2,000 plaintiffs in this case, so quite a few people, quite a few stories to be had. And, there's a good chance that this moves forward and that Binance is going to have to answer for this, whether it's a fine or whatever those other consequences might be. But what's even more important, especially when we talk about exchange listings, there's a lot of exchanges, right? So it's like, okay, well, Binance might not list Terra Luna. The problem is that more and more exchanges are getting hit with lawsuits. So Coinbase, Gemini, even more than that, anyone that was listing Terra Luna at that time that could have been basically considered to display false advertising about the stability of UST and Terra Luna are going to get hit with lawsuits. Now, if you're an exchange, why would you ever list something that Do Kwon is backed? Why would you ever list another Terra 2.0 project if you're getting hit with a lawsuit for doing it in the first place a month ago? There really is not much upside for any exchange to list Terra Luna Classic or Terra Luna 2.0. I just don't see the upside for any of these companies to take that risk when they're already getting hit with lawsuits for what's going on right now. And it's very, very active on Twitter. It's getting heated. There's a lot of lawyers out there saying, hey, contact us to add to that 2,000 plaintiff total. So there's a lot of momentum behind this, guys. I mean, this could actually go somewhere. Obviously, like I said, it's Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, Gemini, and the list is going on and on. So I think more exchanges will probably get pulled into this. And the question remains, why would you ever take this risk again as a Gemini, as a Binance, as a Coinbase? Why would you ever list anything that Do Kwon puts out again? So that's my point on that. And I think, that kind of settles the burn and exchange. I think that the burn, the math doesn't really make sense. Even if we were to burn way more than the proposals have out there, it's still not going to appreciate Luna Classic or Terra Luna in any significant way. And now exchanges, the argument for exchanges is really, really tough to see when there's so much downside risk for these companies and not much upside. Now, the other rumor I want to kind of dismantle here is that for some reason there has been, thought and rumor around CZ and Binance buying out Luna or bailing out, some of these companies. But he put this to rest in a recent interview and basically said, you don't want to bail out mismanaged projects that will continue to be mismanaged and make them bigger and have a bigger problem down the road. So in theory, the bailout is for companies that were temporarily mismanaged. You can bail them out, they can improve, and they can go on to better. Now, this was in response to, hey, would you ever bail out, a project like Terra Luna? And, he talks about Terra Luna already being dead, already being collapsed. There's no way he's bailing out Terra Luna and taking on additional risk when they already have a lawsuit being filed against them from being associated with Terra Luna and Do Kwon, right? So I just don't see the arguments for a bailout. I don't see the arguments for an exchange listing, and I don't see the arguments for burn having a significant impact on price action. Now, I'd love to hear in the comments if I'm missing something. Obviously I could be. I kind of dug a little bit around. I'm decently involved in the Luna community, and I like to get more and more informed. But based on the research I've done, I just don't see the viability of this project coming back. Obviously, anything's possible, guys. I'm not saying, completely, take away your belief in the project. I'm not hoping it dies, right? That's not the idea here. I just want some, realistic expectations to be set. I don't want people to fall for hopium and, basically lose all their funds again. We have to be realistic about what just happened. If you did take a loss, maybe it's time to just kind of reconsider and say, hey, maybe we move on from this. But would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Obviously, regardless, very, very unfortunate scenario, and I wish the best for everyone. But I think we need to be very, very careful, when we get caught up in the Twitter communities, the Discords talking about how we're going to 0.01, we're going to $1. I think we need to kind of reel those in and really look at what's actually happening and be realistic about price expectations. So to see, Luna or Terra Luna Classic, 10x from here, 20x from here, I think we need to rein in those expectations and really, really look at what's coming out right now. I mean, Do Kwon and Terra Luna are in some deep trouble. Lawsuits are coming. And there's really no reason for exchanges to list. And the proposals for burning are not going to do anything in terms of price action, especially with no really usable product on the chain yet. It's really just, supply and economic mechanisms. There's no product that's being used by institutions or by projects on this chain yet. So that's just something to consider. But Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that was helpful. Hopefully we cut through some of that noise, some of the hopium, some of the shilling that's been going on recently, and hopefully it helped. But let me know if you want me to cover anything else in the comments, and I want to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.